You can support this show at patreon.com/ASA podcasting.
The wasteland is the post-apocalyptic mess as the sole survivor wanders out about to see the rest. Nuclear explosions sending out the gamma rays from deep within the core, gross atomic waste. From deep within the core, gross atomic waste.
Welcome to the 66th edition of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. It's the 6th episode of Season 7, and we are the show who compares and contrasts Fallout experiences through a lively roundtable discussion by playing through the same quest with characters who have been randomly assigned drastically different attributes. Welcome to the show, everybody. Hi, I'm Andrew. This is the Fallout Roundtable, nice little friend companion show to the Fallout feed. I'm doing this for a few years now. Started as the Skyrim Roundtable, fun little project. We have a random character generator, and we all get random characters that we do not get to choose. The only stipulation of your character is it can't be something that you play on a consistent basis. So we're getting outside of our comfort zone with our Fallout-style characters here, drawing random characters. Then we all play the same quests, like we mentioned, and send in our information. If you're a role player, you'd like to develop a backstory for your character, this is the project for you. Or if you're just like a power player, just like to run through quests and do fun stuff, this is also the project for you. And in joining me in this project, as always, joining us tonight, we have Ray. Hello, Ray.
Good evening, Andrew.
And also Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Welcome to the show, guys. Roundtable. We've got some quests to get into this evening. We've got early warnings, reassembly required, and coming to fruition. Now, as I mentioned a couple weeks ago when we were doing our quests, I ran into the same issue. I am dead deep into the RPM challenge. Hey, Bernie, how's your album going, buddy, by the way? And I've been recording lots of music and not playing as much video games as I usually do, or as I'd really like to be playing. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I sit and look at my lyric book and I think, I wonder how many HP a rad rat steak gives you when I should be writing, harmony for a song. But alas, it is a very rewarding project, and my main parts are almost all done. So I feel like a giant weight has sort of been lifted on. Now it's just me sort of cracking the whip. You know how I like to do. You guys around the community, you're aware of my my tendencies to get, I don't know, bossy, demanding. What do I do, guys?
Delegate.
There you go.
100%.
I need. I've got my deadbeat bassist, my drummer who still doesn't have all the equipment quite together yet, and everything's just like, come on, guys, let's go. I'm done now. My stuff is done. You can now start putting your stuff on it. No, so it's been fun, but I'm excited to get back into video games. I did manage to narrow out a few hours this afternoon where I played the first couple quest and a half by myself, and then my kid woke up from his nap, so we got to play the last quest and a half together running around. So we'll go ahead and start with our quests, but before we do that, we need to do a little bit of a background check on some of our characters, just a little bit of a reminder of where our characters are coming from, sort of a special reminder, if you will. Ray, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your roundtable character and where she stands as we speak.
So Cobb is closing in on level 30. His name is Ty Cronin. So he is totally into baseball, and he is using the baseball bat exclusively as his melee weapon. He does pepper in a little bit of long range with the rifle, but for the most part, he just goes around whacking things with his chain wrapped baseball bat,
Oh, nice.
and adorned in his graciously gifted baseball outfit.
I haven't messed with the baseball bat yet. The chain sounds pretty sweet. What other kind of mods have you come across for your baseball bat?
Well, so Lee gave me a rocket mod. But unfortunately you can't have the chain and the rocket at the same time. So that was kind of a
that's
bummer.
kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Oh, that stinks.
But
I wish that there was like in Skyrim how you can enchant stuff. I know that there are mods that allow you to apply which legendary effects you would like, but I always wish that there was a way you could do just like pick and the way it would fall, it's just kind of random, and just like pick up this legendary effect does 15% more damage to robots and swings faster at night. You're like,
Right.
okay. So you have zero control over that. But I just kind of wish there was that double enchanting. When you get your enchanting to 100 in Skyrim, you get the double enchanting.
Double enchanting.
Oh, double enchanting. It's the best. Sorry, Ray, I interrupted.
that's quite all right. Yeah, so I do have a higher level bat in the waiting that has a legendary effect to it that was also gifted to me. But right now that's what he's sporting, and it can be challenging. Although when the PCers got together, I did manage to beat on a Scorch Beast with the baseball bat. So that was fun.
That's awesome. You just got to trick them into landing somehow, and then melee is actually really a nice way to fight them if you can get on their haunches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like they're I guess they kind of flap their wings a little bit and get you from behind, but that's definitely the end you want to be attacking.
Yeah. I still died, but that's
Yeah,
just
of course.
part for the course.
So you said you've been gifted these baseball bats. I was just thinking I'm, pretty high level, not quite 100 yet, like level 86, 87, I think I just hit. And I could count the number of baseball bats I've seen in the game on one hand, let alone like ones with multiple legendary effects and stuff. I don't think it's that common of a weapon in this game as compared to Fallout 4. They had, the dude downtown he had a whole storefront dedicated solely to baseball bats.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely been challenging. Fortunately, this chain wrap bat has been pretty effective for quite a while now. So it was certainly better than the level 5 bat I was carrying.
And the chain, not bleeding damage. What sort of damage or what benefit does the chain add?
So at this point, it just adds a significant amount of damage. It doesn't really do bleeding or penetrate armor or anything, but it does about 25 points more damage than any of the other mods.
That's nice. Will you, if you weren't assigned it, invest in like the makeshift warrior or whatever it's called? There's some card that'll let you improve melee weapons.
Yeah, I've got a couple of levels of that going.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Although I haven't been able to craft a better bat, so at this point I haven't really used it.
Yeah, there's always that sweet spot, in the game where you don't break this stuff down to learn it yet because it's still better than the stuff that you're crafting yourself.
Yeah.
But when you hit that sweet spot where it kind of flips, you're like, oh, now that starts getting a little exciting. Yeah,
so I suspect that the aluminum bat will be better, and so eventually at some point I'll get to a level high enough to be able to get an aluminum bat.
Now, tell me about your relationship with strength in this character with melee. Did you choose to go melee because of your strength level, or was this a more familiar sort of play style? What caused
Yeah, so he has a high strength. It was the highest stat. I think when all is said and done, he'll be a level 12 in strength. Which, kind of led me down that path when I started creating the character itself. And so that's where I got the inspiration, was from that strength score.
And I had another question about the character. You said his name was Ty Corbin or something?
Cronin.
Was that just the assigned thing from the
Cobb,
character generator? Or
Cobb was his assigned name. And so, that also, I had Cobb as a name and, high strength. So melee was going to be the way I was going to go. And so that's where I put it together to, this is Mo Cronin's great grandfather. So, and it'll be where he gets his impression of how baseball was played.
I love that.
Good one. All right, Sarah, let's hear a little bit about your character background.
All right. So I have Penny. She has no character background because I'm not good at that. However, what I will tell you is that she is currently a level 37. And that is 100% due to running around and killing big stuff with the PC group. And she sticks to mostly shotgunning and snipering, and that's due to the strength and perception cards that she pulled. And so far, I'm really liking it, although it's a little bit in my wheelhouse because I'm a rifle girl. I tend to stick with the sniper a lot, although I've been using the shotgun because I have a pretty beefy shotgun or shotgun. It's not a what are those things, like explosive? I'd love to have one of those, but it works well for what I use it for. Although right now everything I have is broken, so I currently have a super sledge or a sledge, just a sledge, not a super sledge. But it's working well. That's my backup.
That's a really hard point in this game I found, is there's a time when your character doesn't quite have the cards to make like crafting and stuff cheaper.
Right.
You still don't quite have like the stockpile of reserves of stuff to repair. So I found myself in that mid-20s, sort of like, why is all my armor constantly broken? Like, am I overreaching the level slightly? Like, should I be using a lower level armor that's cheaper to repair? Or, I found myself sort of in that dead zone as well. Like, why are my shotguns all fucking broken? Why is this that's kind of when I made the switch over to being unarmed.
Yeah.
With the mole miner gauntlets and the deathclaw gauntlets that I've been using.
Yeah.
It's like everything's fucking broken. My shotguns are always broken. I don't have any ammo. This is just a pain in the neck. I don't want to go to vendors every 2 seconds to buy ammo and stuff like that. So you switch over to the unarmed, and suddenly ammo's not an issue anymore. Your guns don't break anymore.
That's true.
I already had the makeshift warrior thing, which makes your unarmed and melee things last longer.
Right.
Too. So
yeah, it's definitely a balance in the game, because in order to level up, you need to do a lot of these, fighting scorched beasts and high level, stuff, but that breaks all your things and uses all your bullets. And so then you've got to spend the other time you would have been questing, running around gathering resources so that you can get everything built back up, so that
Right.
you're ready to go the next time everybody gets together and goes, monster hunting.
Do you
Mhm.
think, do you think the game does a good enough job of putting those resources out just during the quest so that you don't actually have to make specific runs? Because that is a common thread in our group is where do you go to get this? Where,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
so
No,
when
not
you-
really. Because if
when
you
you
think
start
about it, so if
questing-
you look at this set of quests we just got done doing, we're going to the same bunkers over and over and over and over
Right.
again. So, they're cleaned out the first time you go through them.
well, unless you don't all play them in the same play session.
I
Then
must have played them too many days in a row, because there were, the containers were empty the next time I went in, even
I
though it was a day later.
I got multiple. I know it's in the later in the quest we'll talk about, but I think his name was Raleigh or something. And
Mhm.
he had a piece of like stealth armor you're supposed to get. I got that like 3 or 4 times, I think, before it actually stopped putting them out for me. Because I like would stop there and then not finish the quest and then like reload the game like the next day or whatever. And like I got it a couple times.
And what is frustrating, or what we found frustrating last night, is Phil and Eddie and I, and actually someone else who played with Christian, we were all playing together, and we were completing the same quests, but we were completing them like just after each other. So there was, maybe 1 or 2 minutes between me and Eddie doing it, and then Phil would finish it like 10 minutes later. And because we were all on a team, every time that we finished a quest, we would all get stuff every single time. And so we would unencumber ourselves only to get over encumbered again the next time that one of us completed a piece of the quest. It was hilarious once we figured out what was happening, because all of a sudden we'd be like, where did these 20 pounds come from? Oh shoot, Phil just ended or started the new quest or whatever. And so we'd have to go find a stash box or go, scrap a bunch of crap and move on to the next stage.
Like, yay, 3 more plans I already knew.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yay, more armor that I'm not going to use because I'm in power armor.
Level 5 wood armor. Yay.
Yeah.
Now, Alex and I were running around tonight with a couple of his friends from the from Xbox, and as I had no idea what was really happening, but as someone was doing something, the rest of us were getting 12 caps every once in a while. And we couldn't really tell what was causing that.
That's weird.
It's like 12.
You were all playing the same quest at the same time, or were you guys
No,
all off?
we're all doing different stuff, but no one knew who was doing it that was causing it to happen.
That's funny.
It's like it happened as I completed one thing, but then it happened again just randomly, like as I hadn't completed anything. It was just sort of standing there, and it happened. We also had a really fun photo session with a vengeful Mothman that showed up at Abby's bunker. Those really, gosh, they're really fun monsters. I ran a monster and a Mothman I'd seen numerous times before. Not quite as frequent as the other ones, but I finally saw, I think is the last one, the last cryptid that I hadn't discovered yet. What's he called? The Flatwoods monster, sort of like the glowing purple alien guy. I hadn't seen him yet, and out of the 87 levels on this character and 45 levels on the other character, I still hadn't run into him yet. And he was nowhere near Flatwoods. I stupidly was assuming that he was just going to Flatwoods. But honestly, there's a bunch of Grafton monsters near Grafton. I know there's other ones not near Grafton, but there's a concentration of them there. So I didn't know. The Flatwoods monster should be near Flatwoods, right?
I
You
agree.
think?
No. It's a really cool looking monster if you guys haven't come across it yet. I didn't know if it's a leveled thing or if it's just a totally random encounter or whatever. But it's a really fun. He's a cool bad guy. He's got a cool laser, and it's really neat. I wish.
The only
yeah.
only one I've seen is the one that Ray killed.
Oh, you got one, Ray.
Yeah, we were over by the pumpkin patch, and one showed up, and I beat him to death with a baseball bat.
Yeah. On your own too, 1-on-1, because the rest of us are fighting a Scorch Beast.
Do you think he popped out of the fissure site there, or?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. There was a lot going on.
There was a lot going on.
So, but yeah, the weird thing about that one is that's one of those where everybody sees it differently. So
yeah,
when I looted him, you know, the one that I saw in my game had his helmet on. You know, somebody else came up and look at it, and it had its helmet off. Then somebody else came up to look at it, and it was 10 feet away.
Yeah, that was me. It was like you would stand where the body was, and I would stand where the body was, and we were like 10 feet away from each other. That happens a lot with Scorch Beast, though, too.
Yeah, we definitely had one that was, I mean, it was like 100 feet away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
In different directions for everybody.
Yeah, I never even saw the second one. I only had one body.
So tell me about your friendly PC meetups, you guys. I'm always interested to hear about the group dynamics. Who is this Christian person that's for some reason seems to not be a listener of the podcast?
So I think he's in the Facebook group. We met him through playing, and he is like our Alex, is the best way to explain it.
Yep.
He's super high level. He's done everything in the game. If you need something, like Christian has it. And so he's just kind of taken us all under his wing and taught us how to play, basically, and given us all the tips and the tricks. And so he's a really awesome guy. I don't know if he listens. Christian, get on it. I'll yell at him the next time that we're on together. But I'm pretty sure he's in the Facebook group. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's in the Facebook group. Yeah, we're reeling him in slowly. We'll get him on.
Yeah, I always feel, I don't know why. It's not like I'm ashamed of doing the podcast, but I never fucking mention it to random people I meet up with.
Oh my gosh.
You don't have to. We have Lee.
Yeah, we have Lee.
He's
and his protege, Phil.
Oh my gosh. Are we going to hash this out on the podcast? Poor Phil.
I don't think so.
Well, now you have to. Now that I know that there's a thing, you got to hash it out.
No.
So Phil just spent, a lot of energy trying to help a woman that we met, outside of the train station to, join the group. And
he was doing a great job.
He was very enthusiastic about it. So she's from Spain. And so, just barely was able to speak any English. And, but through Phil's persistence, he managed to get her, on the right track. So
yeah. So
we'll see.
We'll see if she joins.
Is she playing the game in Spanish?
We're not really sure.
Yeah,
can she load it?
Don't.
When you were in Spain, can you buy the Spanish version and all the tapes are in Spanish and such?
Well, that would be
was playing the
great
game.
if we could get her into the Facebook group. We could ask those questions.
That's interesting. Because I've definitely been searching for stuff and pulled up websites, and I found one in German and I read German fairly well, and I was just like, oh, that's weird. So I was like, it kind of dawned on me, oh yeah, of course other people all over the world are playing this. I've just never heard someone speaking a foreign language on mic.
I would guess that other languages, if the game is made in other languages, that likely they have their own separate servers,
Yeah.
maybe because they want you to play together and there might be a language barrier. I don't know. That's a great question. I would love to play with people from like every country. That would be like so badass.
Yeah, I mean, we should, if it's, gosh, we must be on like the North American servers or European servers, or I don't know. Could we play with the Australian folks all the time?
Yeah,
Like,
totally. Totally.
that's weird.
Oh, Phil said in the chat that she said she had a Spanish keyboard. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, when I lived in Germany, I had to use the German keyboard. It is not fun.
Wait, what's the difference between an English keyboard and a German keyboard?
They're basically the same with some of the most important letters swapped out for other positions. And it's just like, it bends your mind, and it takes you a very long time to learn it. And as soon as you get it learned, you're moving back to America to fuck your mind yet again.
So is the keyboard laid out with like the most convenient, most used letters?
Yeah.
Someone please teach me about keyboards.
Actually, it's the opposite of that.
No, the QWERTY keyboard is designed for the most common English words, so that your hands move as little as possible. Provided you use proper, finger placement.
Which I don't. Do you?
No.
You do. Ray definitely does. No, you don't?
No, I almost do, but not really.
I have also heard that the strategy of the placement of the letters was during the era when, of course, when typewriters were the way. But they didn't want you to go too fast because the hammers would get caught if you go too fast on typewriter. Everyone knows if you go too quickly on a typewriter, the two hammers will hit.
Oh, everyone knows that.
I mean, have you used a typewriter? Then you've gotten them stuck, I imagine. Like they're impossible to use a typewriter if you go quickly at all. But I've heard that they're actually, the positioning of the letters is meant to slow you down a little bit so you don't get the hammers stuck.
Man, so much science.
But anyway, and the I don't even remember in the German. I'm looking at my keyboard now. I can't remember what the actual differences are, but it's just, I don't know. A couple of important letters were switched, and it would just mess with your head. Not enough of them to be like you had to just like relearn a whole thing,
right?
But like a few of the really important letters were, and it drove me nuts. Yeah.
But anyway, Lee is our unofficial for the podcast. He does a really good job of explaining what we do without making us sound crazy. Lee is like the best at it. He's really good.
So 8 of you stumble up upon a poor random person. You're like, oh my God, who are you guys? Like, we are the podcast. Hi, I'm Lee.
No, we're all on a Discord. So we aren't even on like audio at all. And so people usually wander up to us because they're trying to figure out why there's 8 people hanging out in one spot. I'm sure it happens to you guys when you're Xboxing.
Yeah.
And Lee is just not afraid to walk up and say, hello, nice to meet you. I'm Lee. This is what we're doing. You're welcome to join us. This is what our podcast is about. And this is why our characters have all these differing levels. And we'd really love for you to play, and just invites them to play along.
That's very nice, Lee. That's great.
Yeah. Lee's the best.
Tell me about Discord, because I've never really used it before. The PC group has started utilizing it because it's better than the interface you're given, evidently.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about Discord, what it's like, and your experience with it.
That's a saving grace.
It is a super saving grace because the audio never works on PC. If your team, if your area, if your auto, doesn't matter. We can't hear each other. So we all just hop on a Discord, and if we want to do our own thing, we do. And if we want to all join up, we do. And tonight even, like Eddie and I were doing something, and Christian and Clint were doing something, and we were kind of all talking over each other, but it worked just fine. We got where we needed to go.
You know what?
What?
Eddie's from Michigan.
Eddie? Yeah. Mhm.
Did you know
He
that?
is.
Because I know that now.
Are you sure he's not from like New Zealand or like?
Fucking Oceania somewhere. No, that's Clint. I can't believe I fucked that up. I apologize again, you guys.
So the other nice thing about the Discord is that we don't even have to be in the game to just talk to each other.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you can just
Yeah.
talk about your musings and
Yeah, it's if you see somebody's on, you just hop on and say, "Hey, how's it going? What are you up to?"
Ray's like,
yeah.
"Oh, I'm off saveeting something over here in the corner."
So yeah, I mean it's definitely a handy tool.
Yeah. I got on while I was at work the other day while everyone else was playing, and I was sad, and they all laughed at me because I was working.
That just seems torturous.
Yeah.
The Xbox has the party chat built right in. So generally, if we want to have more than our party of 4 talking, we'll hop over and do like the Xbox chat. But I hate the Xbox chat. Alex says it's my fault. It's user fault that I get this double echo. But I've literally messed with every audio setting on the thing, and nothing gets rid of all the. It's gotten better, but it doesn't get rid of all of it. So I have no idea.
I think it would be really fun if we had everybody using Discord, even if you have like an in-game whatever, because it would be super fun to pop in with the PS4 people and say hey and like, bring us together, even if we're not playing on the same platform.
Do we have it set up so that you PC people have your own thread and Xbox has their own thread, or is it just whoever has their?
I think you made threads for all of them when you did went and made them.
It was a long time ago. I haven't even opened the damn app. I'm surprised that.
Oh, Andrew.
You have to open the app long enough to put Sarah and I in charge.
Yeah, I gave you guys permission to be admins or whatever, and then I was like, okay.
Are you sure?
Bye.
Because it hasn't shown up on my.
Oh, it hasn't?
No.
I thought that I did that.
Don't make me an admin.
I had to do it.
You need to make Pat an admin.
Pat? He's an Xbox
Yeah.
guy.
I know, but I don't want to be an admin of anything. If you put me in charge, weird things are going to happen. That's all I'm going to say.
Does Pat hop on PC with you guys? I know he has the PC version as well.
I think he plays solo on PC.
I've seen him on every once in a great while, but he definitely hops into our PC Facebook chat for sure.
Nice.
So we appreciate having him there at least. So everyone is going to migrate to the Discord. You guys can go and play Xbox in your Xbox room, and you PS4 people can go hang out in your PS4 room. We'll have our PC room, and then if we ever do this again and we're like playing Fallout 4 instead, or we're playing like whatever, we go back to like New Vegas or whatever it is we have in store for the future, we can get on Discord and we can like play together but play separately. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm just trying to build us up for the future.
I don't even think we should have our own separate channels then. Everyone should just be in one channel. It should just be whatever the game is. We should just have the ASA Podcasting Fallout 76 channel.
That's true. That's 100% true.
No, that gets distracting.
Yeah, Fallout 70, like for 76, we have to have our own separate because we are trying to work together and like decide what we want to do. So, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But everything else, yeah.
Distracting because sometimes when we're on Xbox, one of Alex's random buddies who's like playing FIFA or something will join in and be on our Xbox party, but he's not like playing Fallout 76. He's like playing FIFA or whatever, and it. It's like, go.
It's a little weird.
Like, what? No. It's a fun dynamic. Right on. So, guys, let's go ahead and get to our quests rolling. Oh, geez, already 35 minutes into the show. Let's get into the quests. We're doing early warnings. Reassembly required. and coming to fruition. I kind of sped through the quests. I, had a toddler hanging on me for half of them, so I didn't really get a good listen to a lot of the holotapes because you can't pause them, and that's stupid.
Mm-hmm. Can't make
Would
them
love to be able to
louder.
pause 'em. Would love to be able to go back, be able to, listen to those messages again. Can't do it.
You know what I want for holotapes? You know how when you're in Fallout 4 and somebody's blabbering at you and you can just read the text on the screen faster than they're talking and you can just like read it and click through and like cut them off?
Yeah,
That's what I want for the holotape.
like hurry up. How about double time?
Get with it.
Today, Junior. Let's see. Early warnings, reassembly required, and coming to fruition are requests. I didn't talk about my character. Basically, a strength build is my highest at 11. Luck is a 10. So luck and strength. It's made fun for picking cards. I've basically been doing anything that'll max out damage output for unarmed, which counts for the gauntlets. And I think maybe even the Tambo is that can't be unarmed, is it? Anyway, but
I don't know.
all the gauntlets and the knuckles and stuff like that can or just bare fists if you want to go out. So I've gotten anything that puts out extra damage for that, and I was just kind of looking up online, seeing what kind of builds go well with the unarmed, and it came up with a couple of different cards. One Incisor, I think, cuts through armor, like ignores armor of your enemy. So I've got that one maxed out. Adrenaline, which with each subsequent death to an enemy, you gain more damage output, up to plus 30 something damage, I think. Something like that. Also glow sighted, which does up to I've got that one maxed out, so I'm up to 60% more damage to all glowing enemies, which is really nice. It's actually easier to fight the harder enemies now, if that makes sense. Like when I have a swarm of them coming at me, it's like the glowing one I don't have to worry about as much as the rabid one over there. So yeah, it's basically a strength and luck build. I got Bloody Mess, which is really fun. Things explode, but the animation or something, it just isn't quite as good as Fallout 4. And Fallout 4 did Bloody Mess really well.
Yeah, it did.
I love Bloody Mess. One of my favorites.
That explosion of blood in 4 is just really impressive. Things just kind of tumble into chunks in this one, and it makes your my gauntlet is always like really like bloody and sort of drippy, and that looks cool. But for some reason, just the pile of stuff isn't quite as gross or something.
Yeah, the Death Tambo is an armed weapon, and Jen in the chat points out that you can't use it with power armor, so that is the good indication.
See, that's okay. That is so true and so dumb. I think we complained about it last episode. Like, you should be able to use a power fist and power armor, dummy. You should be able to take off one of those fists and put a power fist on instead. You should be able to use your whatever you want in your power armor. I'm pissed that I can't use a gauntlet, and that means I have to have yet another melee style weapon that I can go to. But that also means that since all of my perk cards are really benefiting the unarmed, like some unarmed and some melee stuff go hand in hand. Some cards apply to some apply to the other, some apply to both. But it just means that my unarmed weapons do like a really good damage, but then when I have to get in my power armor, I have to use an axe instead, and it does okay damage, but it's not what I'm used to. So when I get in power armor, you feel all badass and everything, but then your weapon gets nerfed. So I need to, I guess, invest also in the perks for the melee weapons too, but I'm not quite there yet with my perk points. That's a whole nother thing. I need to.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Well, go ahead.
About your respec.
See, I've decided to. I'm not going to mess with the roundtable role. I'm just like the character is what the character is for the roundtable. Anyone out there, you're welcome once you hit level 50. I think we kind of were chatting on the side. Once you hit level 50, you can feel free to respec and change your character and do whatever you wish. Congratulations for reaching level 50. Have at it. But I'm kind of just I just want to stick to the role. I want to keep the character as is, but it does make me want to, I don't know, sort of build a character from the cards up and then assign points that way.
What do you mean?
I think we kind of did that in 4 a little bit. I know you just like, you have your cards. There's those cards that you love,
Mm-hmm.
the ones that you need for whatever characters you're whatever you're going to build. If you're doing a melee or if you're doing shotguns or if you're doing rifles, there's those very specific cards for each of those categories. So you, of course, would pick those, but then you'd also pick their sister cards that also kind of help that, but do another thing as well. There's weird combinations, and the builds, the websites out there are starting to get really rich with how many different kinds of cool card combinations that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I just need to really sit there and choose all the best cards and then assign. See, I don't know if I don't want to just do like I'm going to do this specific type of build. I think I just want to do best cards. You know what I mean? Not do like a melee and choose all the melee cards. Just go through and do all the best cards and see if that would be a bad move because you're not concentrating enough into one area, or if the jack of all trades is actually a viable sort of play style in this game. I think sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna just say it makes me wonder, the people that aren't out there playing roundtables, they're out there playing their own characters. How many of them, A, did just that, and B, how many of them are collecting these cards and then interchanging them dependent upon what they're trying to do. So, for example, oh my gosh, I just picked up, all rise. I'm gonna pop in all my cool melee cards, or just customizing it to what they feel like doing at that time, because that's kind of what they can do. But then I guess you're right, because the specials are going to be different. So I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you could go at it.
Ray, we did a whole episode like building a character in Fallout 4 for the roundtable. Do you remember that?
Yep.
What would it look like for Fallout 76? How would that episode be different?
Oh, I mean, it would be completely different because you're able to get a level 10 melee perk by putting 10 in strength. You can control the level of every one of your perk settings with where you put your special points. In this one, you can't put that in. You have to build up to it. So
Right.
it's a different system for building a character.
So you don't want to do that episode with me? Is that what you're saying?
Not for a while. Because I'm still trying to figure this out.
No, me too.
We're running around, in a group, and I've still got Lone Wanderer on, and can't figure out how come I can't carry anything.
Yeah, and I know that we've mentioned it in past episodes, but an absolute must at some point is the outfit switcher from Fallout 4?
Right.
Yeah.
to be able to have your different sets of clothing.
But it's got to work
Mhm.
for cards. You know what I mean? You got to have card swapper or something like that.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, 100%. That would be really awesome.
Because, you know, I've got like 4 crafting cards and it just sucks to have to go through each. And
Remove and add and yeah.
it must be so nice. I can only imagine. Okay. All right, everyone, I'm getting close here. I'm I'm gonna compliment the PC people here for a second. Don't tell anyone. It must be really nice to just use your mouse to click on the cards, because scrolling the fucking cursor with Xbox through the card menu is a pain in my fucking ass. Just to have the cursor to be able to click on cards must be really, really nice.
Yeah, you would think, but we still have to page through because they have them all
Yeah.
in horizontal
Mhm.
order. And so in order to get, to get around, in your when you start getting a large cluster of cards is much more difficult than it needs to be. I mean, yeah, we can click on a special, and isolate those cards, but you still have to scroll through all your cards to get to the one you were looking for.
Oh, I'm so glad you guys are having a hard time with it too. That's perfect. No, it's annoying to me to have to swap that card menu. It needs work. I don't know how they would change it, but it's just another one of my complaints of the menus. I don't think the menus are consistent with scrolling left or right with either your shoulder buttons or your trigger buttons or your D-pad. It seems like for each different menu you go to scroll left or right, you use a
Mhm.
different set of buttons, and it drives me nuts. Like, and I have to either buy a new Xbox controller or take them over to my used game store. They now do controller repair and stuff, which is great. But my D-pads are now both broken on both of my controllers from just like smashing the stem pack button.
Andrew.
Yeah, I don't know. And from like not knowing which set of buttons control the menu. I'm just like, what is it? This one? No, fuck. Is it this? No, God, is it? Okay, here. And I'm like smashing the D-pad. Is it this one? Yeah. So I've broken my controllers, basically both of them. Sometimes they work pretty well, but I usually have to mash on them pretty hard now to get the D-pad to respond to almost anything, which sucks because they don't let you remap the controller at all. Your stem pack is always right on your controller.
It's
They don't let you
so
move.
annoying. Like, is it so much to ask to have the same system that Fallout 4 has?
Do you have can you remap all your quick keys to stem pack to anything? They don't like force it on like the S key or something, do they?
It's on the H key.
For health?
Probably, I don't know.
HP?
But you can't remap them, right?
You can't remap that at all?
I don't think so.
Even on PC, which you should be able to do anything to. That's crazy.
Yeah, I haven't tried everything. The weird, so the odd thing is that the keys that they tell you to push are really just kind of a suggestion. Because several times it'll tell you, push the space key to make this action happen, and I reflexively push the E key, and it still happens.
It happens anyway. All right.
So yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly how they have it configured, but it's the key that they have listed is not necessarily the only key that you push to make that same thing happen.
That's very odd. I don't know if I've discovered that on Xbox.
It's handy because the E key is the enter key for Fallout 4 and Skyrim, and so I mean it is just absolutely natural for that for my index finger to hit that key, and I'm glad that it doesn't do something like drop a grenade.
Now, I know you're not a console person, Ray, but I play Skyrim on Switch, and the Nintendo has mirror function to their buttons to Xbox.
Oh, that's brutal.
Oh god, it's the fucking worst. My brain, like, it just it hurts so bad after like playing. I have to physically like make my fingers do it. You know what I mean? I can't just play the game. It's like, oh. All right. So I guess we should finally get into our quest. I've been trying to get into it for an hour.
Oh my gosh.
We keep saying that.
So we where were we? We were probably at top of the world with Rose. How did we get news that we need to go talk to Abby? Because we have to go to Abby and to her bunker, but how does that message get relayed to us? Does Rose tell us we need to go find Abby?
Yeah, once
She does.
we've gone to the ski chalet and found the key card underneath the mat.
Oh, there's the stash and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And we get the what do they call it? Something link. Yikes!
Uplink.
I can't
The
remember.
uplink.
Yeah. And so then at that point, she says, she tells you that, you need to take it to somewhere to get it fixed. And the most likely place to do that is going to be at one of the Free States bunkers. So off to the mire you go.
She just said, like, randomly go find a random bunker. What does she know about the Free States that makes her think that?
She knows that they fix stuff.
Yeah,
and she knows they're all dead.
Yeah. And she says specifically for you to go see Abby, because if anybody could fix it, or if anybody had the tech to fix it, it would be Abby.
So Rose knew Abby when they were both human and alive or something.
Or knew of her.
Knew of her. Yeah.
Because the Free State people do mention that they've had run-ins with the Raiders before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they mentioned trading with the I almost said Minutemen, the responders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And having trouble with Brotherhood. Yeah.
Yep.
So what do we know about the Free States? Who are these people? Do we know anything about them?
Well, it depends on what other side quests you've done. Because they are mentioned when you do any of the mining stuff where there were the protests against the robots.
Oh, yeah, I've seen, like, you can pick up those signs and use them as weapons.
Yeah.
So what I assumed people were protesting automation of their job loss due to automation, right?
No. And so they were resisting the reformation of the old government. And the corporations that ran it.
Great. So we need to go find one of their bunkers, specifically Abby's. Off to the mire we go. This is my first big foray, my first big trip into the mire, I believe. I've been up to the power plant, Thundertown. What's it called?
Thunder Mountain Railroad.
There's some sort of power plant up there on the highway. Not
Thunderdome.
Where we're going to be. Yeah, the Thunderdome. I think Tina Turner's there. But we find Abby's bunker, And there's a really interesting spot that that we crossed that we've been talking a lot about in the Facebook group the last day or so, right here on the highway. That when we cross it, I'll try to remember to mention it.
Yeah, oddly enough, I never made it to that spot.
It's you missed the spot that was talked about.
Yep.
It's right there on the highway. Did
I know.
Did you not take the road?
No, because my camp is right at the edge of the mire.
Why would you do that to yourself?
So every time I would, well, it's actually quite a peaceful spot. But every time I would get done, going through one of the bunkers, I would fast travel back to my camp and then load everything, and then go to the next bunker from the Savage Divide, and then go back. And so I wasn't really traversing much of the highway that runs north and south through the mire.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. That's a totally different way to go at it. Why that location? What is there? What were you assigned for your camp location?
So Savage Divide was my assigned area, and as it turned out, it was very convenient because you had to constantly go back and forth to the top of the world.
Top of the world. Okay, fast travel free. Yeah.
And so it's right between the top of the world and the edge of the mire. So,
did you find a resource to put it on, or water or something? Water.
Yeah. So, even though I've given away hundreds of bottles of purified water, I still have.
Yes.
I've got 45 on me and 170 in the stash.
Do they weigh a full weight unit? I want to say pound, but I don't know what.
No, it's 0.38, I think.
That's odd. 0.38.
But it definitely adds up.
Every time you get on with Ray, he's like, "Need any water? Do you want some water? Come back to my camp, get some water." We're like, "No, Ray, we're good." He's like, "No, you need to come back. No, you don't understand.
Please come take 40 pounds of water."
So I didn't go up and down that highway at all.
I did, and I have no idea what you're talking about. So I must have missed it.
We'll get to it here in a second. Where did we get this uplink thing? Did Rose give us a broken uplink and we have to go repair it?
Yes.
Or did Abby told us where the...
No, you go get the uplink from the ski chalet.
Okay.
And it's broken. And she's like, "Hey, if you want to get it fixed," in her little annoying Rose voice.
Oh, so we have it when we go to Abby's. Okay.
Go find Abby. She's dead, but she probably has the stuff in her bunker to fix it.
Because the Free States.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go talk to those crazy Free States people.
Because they know how to fix stuff. I wish they knew how to give succinct, concise instructions to more efficient travel routes. Because you just go back and fucking forth all the damn place.
Yeah, this one was kind of...
It was crazy.
Tedious.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's like run to here and back and run to one spot further, but along the same route and back until we one spot further and then back. Yeah. So there's a Tinker's workbench there in Abby's bunker to repair the uplink.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. I had the components on me. I don't remember what it takes.
It was like some steel and adhesive and lead or something. I don't know. It was all, but you have to go onto her computer first. So if you go onto her computer, she kind of explains what they're trying to do with the uplink.
All right, so remind us.
So the responders were also trying to battle the Scorched and the Scorched beasts because it was also affecting what they were trying to do. And I don't remember the exact story of why the responders and the Free States parted ways, but there was a reason. Hopefully, somebody out there will remind me what it is because they talk about it at some point. But the Free States were trying to set up scorched detectors around the Commonwealth. And at the point that Abby died, they had a few test detectors up and running. And basically, she left this recording for, the people that come after her, like what is it, posthumously? Ooh, is that a nice big word? Does that fit there?
Posthumous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I say it wrong?
You're
And
fine. Go ahead.
whatevs. So yeah, your job is to try and get them up and running so that you can detect scorched. And then hopefully that way they can help either study the scorched further or avoid the scorched when they needed to, etc., etc. So at that point, you've got to go over and repair the uplink, and then she sends you on a wild goose chase throughout the countryside.
What are we looking for?
So, oh wait, you can't even repair the uplink yet, right? Because you have to go get the heating coils and the, flim-flingers and the whatever thingies, all
Yeah.
that are like flux
And
capacitors that are just strewn about not the Commonwealth, strewn about the wasteland.
and you also need the schematics.
Oh, and the schematic. Yep.
Oh, you probably have to go to our homeboy Raleigh or something for the schematics, right?
Yeah.
He seems like the tech guy.
Yeah.
But you also have to go to Ella's
Mm-hmm. Ella's.
because she has
She has
some
a
heating coils.
Yeah, she has a heating coil or two, correct?
Mhm.
So just can you describe like what is the distance and relationship and location of these places? Are they they're all within the mire, all sort of in a vertical range of each other?
They're close-ish by. I mean, we hit pretty quickly. We were able to hit Ella's, Rally's, and the relay tower.
Yeah, the relay tower there.
Yeah, in pretty quick succession. And even then, we ran into like a Mothman and like a Mega Sloth and all kinds of random stuff over there.
That's great.
So
How many times have you run into the Mega Sloth? Because I've still only seen one alive. I've seen a couple dead, but I've only seen one alive.
so there were four of us, and at this point, Eddie and Christian are pretty high level, so remember that. And we were helping to bring down a cargo bot because Christian wanted to nuke White Springs. So
Wait,
while we were
what does that have? What does those two things have to do with each other?
nothing. We happened to be doing something at the relay tower, and Christian's like, "Oh, a cargo bot, I need that." So then we started chasing that.
No, I mean,
With the mega. Oh, I'm sorry. So that's when we saw the Mega Sloth was over by the relay tower.
No,
We just happened upon it.
I mean,
What?
he wanted the cargo bot so that he could go
Yeah.
launch a nuke. Do those have the code or something? What
They have a key card. They have a key
They
card.
do? Ah.
Why am I should not be teaching everyone how to launch a nuke on this game because I have no idea. The only reason I know about the key card business is because Christian's like, I need that cargo bot. So I don't know any of the other steps.
I didn't know that they had a card. I only thought that the scorched officer guys had the code thing.
No, so that's for the code. So the scorched
code
officers have the code pieces, but you need a key card at some point during the nuke process, and that's what's in the cargo bot. We're all
Yeah.
gonna learn this later in the season.
Yeah, we'll have to do it. We'll have to do it later. I think
Yeah.
at that point I stopped putting 3 quests per episode. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives a little more
So,
time to figure it out.
So super long story short, we ran into like a legendary glowing wolf, and then there was just like a mega sloth there, and then we killed that, and out of the blue, like another mega sloth, a diseased mega sloth was like coming up to us. So we took that out. And that was the first time I had ever seen one.
Yeah.
Maybe I saw one when we were fighting a scorch beast. I don't know. I might be wrong. But I don't see them often. I'll say that.
Every once in a while, you'll see a dead one, like by a fissure site after fighting the scorch beast
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
I've seen. I was running up to try to kill it. It died right before I got there. The super mutant behemoth. I've only seen it like alive for a split second.
Oh, really?
Over by the golf course. Yeah, White Springs.
Oh, there's a behemoth. Oh man, now I can't remember where it is. There's another one that always spawns in a particular place. I think Ray, you might have been with us when we took it down. Maybe not.
Where is that?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I'd like
Do-
to find that. That's great.
I don't know. I would have to look at a map and tell you. I'm sorry. I'm the worst.
No, I can't remember the names of anything on the map. I'm like, oh, we were at that one place over there. And then when I think I know where it is on the map, but when I actually load the game and look and find the location where I was like,
Yeah.
that was nowhere close to where I thought we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not helpful at all trying to describe where that place was.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
All right, so where are we finding these heating coils and stuff like that?
So it's all in
there.
there.
Abby's bunker,
Yeah,
Ella's
Abby,
bunker, and
mhm.
Raleigh's bunker. And the bunkers are nice because all you have to do is fight the rad roaches.
Yeah, a couple of roaches.
Yeah,
I
I came across one of those mega sloths, but I never saw it. I saw the health bar show up, and I heard it grunt, and I just ran because I was by myself, and I'm like level 28
I'm out.
All right, you could do it, man.
with my baseball bat.
Yeah, they're super slow, right?
Yeah, well, maybe next time.
So I had some cave crickets that were chasing me outside of Abby's bunker. And I
Yeah.
thought I was going to be
Yeah.
real smart and just run into the bunker because, it's a load screen. So I load into the bunker and I'm still taking damage. And I look down and the stupid jerks had followed me into the bunker.
Wow.
So then Phil started laughing at me. So I ran down the stairs. So they chased me down there and they started attacking him. Or maybe it was Eddie. I don't remember. No, I think it was Phil.
Serves you right, punk. Don't laugh
The
at
cave crickets? I hate cave crickets. They're so mean and they're so tiny and you should be able to just step on them. And instead they're like level 60 and impossible to kill.
Yeah, it's that damn horn on their head.
It is the horn. Stupid.
I don't think
Not
that
as bad as rad rats.
Oh my gosh.
Love the rad rats, Ray. Have you have been snacking on any rad rats? The rad rat steak, by chance?
No. What does that do for you?
Well, I didn't really care for rad rats for the longest time, but when I actually I had an event. I was defending a workshop where it was just 4 waves of rad rats, so I decided, well, I might as well harvest the meat and cook it up, see what we get here. I mean, it'll probably rot anyway before I get to use it all, but who cares? Let's cook up some rad rat. And then I noticed rad rat steak gives like +2 perception for 30 minutes or something like that.
Oh, really?
Holy fuck! That is a great piece of meat.
That is
Oh,
great.
my Lord. I can't remember if it was endurance or perception, but it was something really nice. And then I was like, wait a second. It gives a special bonus? That I find that very strange. Did food in Fallout 4 give special bonuses? I cannot recall, but it just seems strange to me. So I was
Yeah,
looking at the.
pretty sure it did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Doesn't Mirelurk? I always had so much freaking Mirelurk meat, and all it does is like it like increases your AP like 5% or some weird thing I never use in Fallout 4.
The thing is, I never ever played survival mode, so I never had food. I always used stem packs to replenish health. So I don't know what food did. You know what I mean? And I'm bad with chems too because I don't really use chems very much. So I was like, what does that one do? Oh, that's the one that slows you down, right?
Oh, chems are my jam.
Yeah, I don't really use them very much.
All of my characters are just hopelessly addicted.
And in Fallout 76, though, I'm trying to be more disciplined about using my stuff more frequently to keep the stash like fresh or whatever. So like anytime I get magazines, I don't really like collect magazines. I just kind of like pop them as soon as I get them. It's like it doesn't even matter if it applies to whatever I'm doing that day or not. And bobbleheads, go ahead and cash that shit in and use it. I don't squirrel the bobbleheads or the magazines away in this game. The booze, you find booze, go ahead and drink that shit.
Yeah, totally. I don't even pick up bobbleheads anymore.
Well, and with Cobb, I have not seen a bobblehead with this
Really?
character at all.
No,
Not a single one.
That's
On
impressive.
my other character, I would come across them pretty regularly, but this one, nothing.
You're bobble bugged.
Yeah. So Deathclaw stakes in Fallout 4, agility +1, food paste. I should have known this one. Endurance +1.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Is that the pink stuff from the Suffolk County school?
Yep. Gator claws +1 agility. And grilled queen nucleark endurance +3.
So there's not. I was expecting. Okay, that's funny. I was expecting you to list off. There were going to be 7 different meats that had each a different special, but that's not so. That's strange.
Yeah. Here you go. Mirelurk jerky, perception +3.
Wait, was that what old man?
Yep.
What's his face gave you?
Longfellow.
Yeah. Yeah, that +3. That's mega. That's great.
Yeah, so it looks like mostly Mirelurks.
Could you craft that Mirelurk jerky after he gave it to you, or how did that work? Or could you just go back? Could you go back to him for more, at least?
Antifreeze bottle, Mirelurk meat, and tarberry.
Tarberry.
Ugh.
Not a fan of tarberry, are we? All right, so
Tar.
Oh, but it's delicious. It's delicious tar. Find Raleigh's bunker, Ella's bunker, Abby's bunker. We got our heating coils. We have everything. What are we doing here?
Yeah, so we craft the motors.
Yeah.
Why do we need motors? What is happening here?
We're trying to repair
We're crafting
the
motors. The
yep.
uplink. The uplink. Oh no, we have to craft the motors. Yeah, Ray,
yeah,
you're better at this. You do this, Ray. Tell us what we're doing.
So you're making the motors to repair the scorched detection system that the Free States had placed around the mire to help them fight the scorched.
What's wrong with the ones out there?
They were not completely finished, and so you had to go finish off all these repairs to get them up and running.
I think I could be totally wrong about this, but I think I remember reading the subtitles when Mo was pulling at me. Maybe they said something about the moisture was too much in the mire, and so some of them like rusted up or something like that.
I think
Mm.
she did say something like that.
And they're adding heating coils to them now to prevent the moisture, to dry it out.
Yeah.
Something like that, maybe. But so we need to. There's 5 of them up and down the main highway there, which I guess are just basically. How do they explain how they pick up the frequency of the scorched? That's an interesting question. But they're just detecting.
Radiation signatures, I think she said.
Nice.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Now, if you poked around at any of the terminals, did you see any entries about the scorched lure? Not just the detector, but it'll actually like try to attract the scorched beast, a scorched beast lure.
Yeah, and she mentions that when you're wrapping things up.
What does she say about it?
Just that she hopes that it's still functional and that you can use it.
Oh, nice. So this is something that we'll actually get to use at some point, I hope. Is this going to be my scorched beast rend that I want so bad?
I don't know.
A lure?
I think somebody would know about it already. All
right. What I want this to be, Ray, is like, okay, imagine Ghostbusters, the trap that they threw under a ghost before, underneath the proton packs. They trap a ghost with the proton packs and they toss the little trap out there. That's what I want this thing to be. I want it to suck a fucking Scorch Beast to the ground. Scorch Beast Rend. Give it to me.
That would be handy. A
little box that looks just like the Stealth Boy, but it's turned horizontal instead of vertical. How about that? Put a Ghostbuster skin in the Atom store. It'll work, you guys. It's a great idea. So we have to craft these motors. We find the fan motors. Where are those? Those are down at Raleigh's. He has the schematics to some sort of stealth schematics. Did you guys? I think it's a randomly generated piece of armor with a stealth aspect to it. Did you guys find any?
I found the schematic and I didn't even look at it.
There's it's an optional portion of the quest, I believe. But you find all these fan motors. I believe those were all at Raleigh's place, weren't they? And then you go ahead and craft and upgrade the motors with all of those things that you had collected before. First, we needed to repair all those before the uplink could be repaired. So we need to go repair all these things, and that's our next quest. Reassembly required. Now you just move down the highway. Basically, there's these. They kind of look like sort of like yellow speaker boxes or something. Just little things on a post by the side of the road down the main interstate there, running north and south through the mire on the east side of your map. You find Abby's holotape for Rose. You have to convince Rose to set up communications for the uplink. The holotape there is in Abby's desk, right there in her bunker, and you have to go talk to Rose again and convince her to turn the comms back on. Right.
Right.
Do you actually get to hear the holotape?
No, it is so weird. Because she's having a one-sided conversation.
Did you listen to it?
I couldn't hear. I couldn't hear anything.
Oh, okay.
From you just hear Rose, all of a sudden start referring to something she just heard, and
Right.
it gets kind of weird.
Yeah, it'd be nice to hear what was actually said. So Abby has convinced Rose to use the communication system. She's at the top of the world, has a radio tower and whatnot.
Mhm.
Yeah, because she convinces Rose that it would be beneficial to her and her rebuilding of the Raiders to, to help out this endeavor.
Set up trade routes and therefore thieving routes for Rose. But first, the communication system needs to be all repaired. That's up and down the highway. Basically, the first one's up by Abby's bunker. Then you work your way down the interstate. Anybody know that interstate number offhand? I'm gonna say 68, but that's probably not right.
65.
65. That goes Indianapolis. That's weird. So you're at these detectors. The next one, the second one down, is by the dam, and this is where the spot is that we were referring to earlier. There's this magic little spot that is a random encounter generator, and I've seen a couple of weird things already. I just kept going back there every time I reloaded to a different server. I'd go back and see what was up there. But then I've seen pictures of even weirder stuff from other people in the community. Now, at this location, you'll hear Eric, if you're a member of the Xbox meetup group, you know that he will mention his new form of currency is going to be the skeleton costume, because he found a trick-or-treater, a dead trick-or-treater at this location with the schematics, the plans to make the Halloween trick-or-treat costume, which weighed like 0.1 but gave like a value of 54 with the third level of the the hard bargain perk card at a vendor. So he's like, wow, that's a great ratio, 54 caps to a 0.1 weight. So he was just going to build a bunch of those and sell them. And he was saying, oh, this is a location, everyone go there. This is the go get those. And the plants might not always be there, but check back each time you load on, you'll find that trick-or-treater. And I went there 2 or 3 times, and I found a bunch of weird stuff, but I never found a trick-or-treater. Once was I forget what it was actually labeled, but what it was a responders recruiter who had a broken down tent, and it was just a dead body and then like a tent beside it. But there was a few things you could loot out of the tent. But they spawned a couple of super mutants or something. The next one was after I reloaded to a different server, I checked the spot again, and it was a crashed satellite. And that had lots of really nice, it had 20 pieces of aluminum scrap and a bunch of lead and a bunch of really, really good, useful, scrap materials in it. And I think it spawned a couple of gulpers or something. The next time I reloaded, it spawned a Deathclaw scene. There's a Deathclaw nest there with whole Deathclaw eggs. So I assume that I can use those in crafting of some sort of Deathclaw omelet or whatever.
Wow.
So there's a Deathclaw nest that you could it had some decent junk in it, but it was really the Deathclaw eggs that were really, really nice. And at the Deathclaw nest, God, I forget exactly what it was labeled, but there was a Deathclaw was dead by the nest there. It had a really interesting label, but I forget what it was. It was like traitor or something like that. I was like, this is not a traitor. This is a Deathclaw. I thought that was really fun.
That's interesting.
Oh, wait, here. Actually, I pulled it up. What are you called, buddy? A traveling merchant. but it's a dead death claw. But you open his inventory. He says he's a traveling merchant. I'm like, well, all right,
Whatever you say, buddy.
yeah. It's hopefully you're not Graham. Someone doesn't treat you like Graham. But anyway, there's that spot that's right there outside of the dam. There's super mutants outside of the dam too, but there's this cute little respawn point that has a random event. So check out that spot. I'm really excited about looking for the trick or treater to see if I can get the witch costume plans or the skeleton costume plans. That'd be really fun to grab those. So check that spot, and we're just going to keep moving on down the highway, move on down the road to spot 3, 4, and 5. The spot 4 bends off to the east, down near what's that city? Harper's Ferry? Is that near spot like 3 or something around there? But then spot 4, Scorch Beast. Anybody else get a Scorch Beast along the route?
Yeah, we got 2.
Oh man,
I got none.
You didn't get any?
No.
Oh, lucky duck. Yeah, they. I was like wandering around. I was like, ooh, what's this? Oh, big piles of Scorch. Oh no, bam, bam, and they started hitting me with their big echo blue ring blast. Looks like Aquaman's attack.
Which has now been tempered with the latest patch.
Oh, latest patch. I'm glad you said something. Right. Do we know anything about this latest patch?
Yeah, so the Scorch Beast can only use their sonic attack and the associated screaming that goes with it once every 10 seconds. So there'll be a 10-second gap between them. We had one the other night that was just, it was just.
Oh my gosh.
As soon as the sound wave file finished, it started again. It was just constant, and he was just blasting.
That was during that whole craziness though, right?
Yeah. We had the level 65, the level 80, and then all the other crap that was associated.
Literally everything else on the planet, like 68, level 68 super mutants, and like everything else you could think. Scorched. Oh, we saw a sloth there.
Yeah.
There was a mega sloth. There we go. That was the other mega sloth I was thinking about.
Nice.
And we're all between level 20 and level 40, I think.
Yeah, it was just a death fest, but it was really fun.
Well, that's the whole point.
But it would not stop screaming, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah, we for some reason it's common for the Scorch Beast Queen to not take damage. Like that's
what?
A bug.
Like at all?
It's just like for some reason that calculates the difficulty level of the Scorch Beast Queen based on a number of factors which aren't quite clear to any of us. And so it bugs out every once in a while. I've heard, people mention that sort of frequently. And then I experienced it for the first time today, where we went down and there was a, fair load of people just pummeling this thing. And it was just, it wasn't happening. They give you like a half an hour or something, 15 minutes at least, for the event to kill the Scorch Beast Queen. And if you can't do it then with 8 people pummeling the poor thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something's bugged there.
Yeah.
All right. So what are we doing to wrap up? Reassembly required. If you move on down the highway, you repair 5 of these sort of yellow boxes along the way. You stop at I don't know, what are some of the locations, like Dolly Sods recreational area? I remember. Do you stop in Harper's Ferry? Is there one in Harper's Ferry?
Yeah, there's one in Harper's Ferry. Is there one by the Red Rocket, or is that just on the way? I can't remember. I think it's close by to
Yeah,
the big red rocket.
I definitely stopped in that red rocket and
Yeah.
Yeah, must just be close by because I didn't go there.
But lots of hermit crabs along the way, and I missed every single one of them and set every single one of them off.
I didn't see any of them.
Is it possible
Really?
you like just sort of sneak by them or something?
I didn't. Ray wasn't on the road though, and they were all
Mm-mm.
parked on the road.
Yeah, okay.
So that would be why he didn't see them probably. I just ran right smack into them like, "Oh, what's in this truck?"
Yeah, no, I was about to say that I have now twice. I think I finally learned my lesson. So, you know, I know it doesn't happen frequently, but you know, every once in a great while you can open the back of one of those trucks.
Right.
And so I always just in case, I always go up and check, and I was like, "Oh, what's this little truck?"
Right?
And it doesn't like you poking around. It's trying to lift its back door
Trunk
open.
lid. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't appreciate you lifting its skirt. Smacks you with some claws pretty quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like traveling through the forest is much better than traveling up and down the road.
Yep.
What
You're
sort
gonna
of
end up with what? Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask Ray what was the worst you encountered in the backcountry?
Some super mutants and cave crickets.
See, I'd rather face the super mutants than the damn cave crickets.
Yeah, fortunately there were only 3 of them.
Yeah, brutal. Those crickets, crazy. Yeah. So, were you? I mean, they're all just along the line, along the road. Were you just like in a certain distance from the road, sort of running parallel the whole way, and you just sort of like dip in and then back out? Or how did you avoid the road? You'd have to cross it at least because they were all along the road, all 5 of them, you know?
Yeah, so most of the time I was coming from the west.
Oh, that's right. You said you
I kept running back to my camp.
Yeah, you said you did them each 5, and you would run back in between. So it wasn't a path for you. It was more of a fan.
Yeah,
than a line. Okay. All right, that makes more sense now. All right. So to wrap this one up, we had to go back to Rose with a holotape again. Certainly, that's not correct.
No, you only do the rose thing once, but you have to do the road piece first. I think we just had that backwards.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that's what I mean. Yeah. All right. So we
Yeah.
go and fix all those things, and then we go to Rose with the holotape, and that's when we convince Rose to open up the comms. Not us. Some mysterious message from Abby, evidently.
Yeah,
Right.
that's when Abby has her install the uplink, right? Onto the tower.
Yep. And then you go back to Abby's bunker.
Mm-hmm.
For the 14th time now.
And
Return
that's
to
when you get to the next quest.
Your turn to Abby's bunker,
Right.
and her desk. Now, I don't know why you just didn't take this holotape the first time you were in her desk looking for holotapes to go give to Rose. But now in her desk is a new holotape called the master holotape.
Yeah, it was taped to the bottom of one of the drawers.
Was it?
No,
I was gonna be like, what?
that's why we didn't see it the first time.
And it didn't see it the first time. It was,
And she said, "Look under the drawer."
Yeah.
That's it.
yeah. So we had the scorch detecting system or detection system there's a terminal there, and now we have to, now that we've got all the individual system, now that we've got those repaired, now we have to get the uplink going into the radio system, and then we have to reprogram each and all of those individual detectors. We have to like sync everything up. You know what I mean? You got to get the system up and running again now.
Mhm.
Now, of course, as you can predict, there's going to be lots of bullshit running around to go collect stuff to make this happen again, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically.
All right, so let's get this system up and running. The master tape is going to be your key item for this portion of the quest. The master tape is found in Abby's desk. The first thing, Abby, the scary voice from overhead, tells you need to go to Harper's Ferry, to the armory, to
Mhm.
the entrance terminal.
Mhm.
You need to run the access program. And now you run the access program, and then Abby, sudden her voice is coming. Okay, I thought I left you back at the. Thought I escaped your voice. But you can download Raleigh's routing schematics. Now that is the thing that lets the whole system communicate. You got to route all the communication systems together, so that we can get everything up and running again.
Yeah, and this is a little mini gauntlet.
It is kind of. You're right. You got turrets and
Yep, you run through the, this winding path of, through the armory, having to take out turrets to move along to the next, to get to the very end of the armory where Raleigh's terminal is.
and there's flamethrowers and hidden staircases that I couldn't find for like 5 full minutes by the flamethrowers. I didn't realize there was a staircase there.
Oh God.
Yeah, because that one you have to go down to keep going.
Mhm.
So there was one, you came through a door and there was a turret that you could see, and so I took it out and then walked out from behind the boxes and was immediately gunned down by a turret that I couldn't see, which was behind the boxes.
That
Yeah.
one's hitting a little better. Yeah.
So fortunately it doesn't spawn you too far away.
I usually don't carry many guns with me, but I luckily had that incendiary machine gun. I always forget what it's called. But I had that one with me because the Scorch Beasts never go to the ground, so we had been
Yeah.
with Scorch Beasts. So I had to have some sort of projectile weapon with me because you can't really do much
Right.
with unarmed against the Scorch Beast unless you have a weapon with you. So I just had that with me because we'd done that like a couple days before or whatever, and I just didn't put it away. Yeah. All right. So, gosh, where are we here with the quest, you guys?
So you get to Raleigh's terminal.
Oh, we're getting Raleigh's code or whatever.
Yep. And you put the holotape in, and you get his stuff downloaded.
the routing schematics
The
or
routing, whatever. And she
Okay,
comes back.
yeah,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, oh yeah, now this is where she says you have to go you have to go downtown now, she tells you.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to go to Charleston Capitol Building again. I am always friggin' lost in there.
Yeah. Speaking of lost stairs.
Yeah, and that one's a booger too because so it led me to a door. I had all these, perfectly good, map markers showing me where to go. And then I got some event quest pop up because I was nearby something, and all of a sudden my map marker went away. And so then I was completely lost. And just had to kind of wade through it was full of super mutants.
Yeah. Tons and tons of
There
super
were
mutants.
a lot of super mutants.
Yes.
So fortunately, most of them were fairly low level for me.
Yeah, they
I
were pretty low.
think they were level 10. So the baseball bat
Yeah.
definitely waded through.
Yeah.
If they didn't see me and I got the double damage, then it took one whack. If they saw me, it took two.
I have to give Eddie a shout out here because I was doing this quest actually before I hopped on tonight, and I was in the mini gauntlet at Rowley's Armory while Eddie was complaining about how hard it was to find all the stuff that he needed to find in the Capitol building. And so before he left the Capitol building, I fast traveled over there and then made him show me where the terminals were. Thank you, Eddie. Because I was totally lost in there just trying to find Rosalind's body or trying to find the information on Rosalind. It would have taken me forever to get through that building because I didn't have any quest markers either at all.
Well, and then the really crappy thing is once you find the terminal that you have to load stuff into, then you
Right.
realize, oh, you don't have the ability to log onto that computer.
Right.
Now you got to go do something else to, to gain access. Like, seriously?
Yeah.
Well,
It's like they're testing you.
come on, that's a Fallout game though, right?
Yeah.
And so then, so I walked out the door and fell down a hole and went 3 stories down
Oh my gosh, Ray.
and went splat.
Wah, wah.
So, unfortunately, again, didn't respawn too far away.
Oh, nice. Yeah, when I did it, my goat legs saved
Nice.
me the damage there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also fell through. I was like, whoa. Fell a couple stories all at once.
Yeah, because it looks like you're just going to drop down to the next level. But nope.
Yeah, and you do have to go up and down a couple of different times. You find Sam Blackwell's terminal the first time, and you say, "Oh, well, there's no access," so you have to go downstairs and find basically the IT department, and hack into their stuff and lift whatever firewall is around Sam Blackwell's access. Beep boop boop. You click.
Right.
Okay, access granted. Now you can get up. So now you have to go upstairs to get to Sam Blackwell's terminal, all the way back downstairs, and then all the way back upstairs again with a stairwell that I really couldn't find. I don't know if that's the same stairwell you were mentioning before, Sarah, or was that the one over at the? No, that was over at the Harper's Ferry when we were talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Are you talking about the cement stairwell?
Yeah.
Over in the corner? Yeah, it's kind of hidden.
Mo, my kid, my 4-year-old pointed it out to me.
It's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Went up and down. What happens when you actually get access to Sam Blackwell's terminal?
You can dig through and see there was a relationship between Sam Blackwell and Rowley. And you can read through some of the story there, and don't ask me to repeat it because now I can't remember. But once you load the holotape into it, I think, does Abby come back in and tell you to go to the relay tower?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're initiating a program file scan or something like that. and then off you go.
And fortunately, they're not particular about which relay tower you go to.
Oh,
Yeah,
going
you can
back to
kind of go wherever.
So I went to the one right there in the ash heap.
my quest marker kept pointing to one. I kept going back to that same one. Were all of them highlighted on the
Yeah.
map?
Yeah, all of ours were
Okay.
highlighted.
So then
So,
once you get the tape loaded in the terminal at the tower, she tells you that you're super crazy awesome and that you did something that nobody else has been able to do, and hopefully you're not the only one left alive.
yeah.
Well, there's a couple. There's 24 other people out there on Earth still alive.
And then guess what? You get to go right back to our bunker again.
So that's like 6th or 7th time, I think, when we did the
Yay!
average bunker.
But it's easy. You
What
just
are we doing there?
You just go to the SDS terminal and you reboot the system and you're done.
And then she mentions that the next thing you've got to do is make contact with the Brotherhood of Steel and check out Fort Defiance.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so she tells you to go check out her personal terminal because she's got all the data that she's collected on the Brotherhood of Steel loaded on that computer.
Well, where is her personal terminal?
It's down the hall.
It's not
in her bedroom.
It's not the SDS.
No.
Computer. Nice.
I didn't look at her personal terminal.
Right.
Yeah, I think you still get the same. You get the same information.
Cool.
Well, we're gonna catch these scorched. And we're gonna get them. Gonna get me Scorch Beast Rand eventually, aren't we?
We have to. Yep.
Something's gonna happen there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we heard from John, who is going to try to catch up with a character for the roundtable. So he's sent in some character introduction last week, and he's doing some quests already this week, trying to catch up with us. So he sent in an audio feedback. So I'd like to play something from John. We also have a Fallout Terminal Velocity to get into. And then we'll go ahead and wrap up the show. So thanks, John, for sending in some feedback. And we're interested to hear more of Elliot's story.
Elliot woke to the sound of the overseer's voice. It was some Vault-Tec propaganda that will likely play on repeat for centuries, long after all of the Vault 76 residents were dead. She didn't really get much of what was said. The messages started out intertwined with her dream, and by the time she was cognizant of it, it was over. It didn't matter either way. She had no interest in what the overseer had to say. She didn't trust Vault-Tec or the overseer. She never wanted to come into Vault 76 in the first place, and her sentiments had not changed in the 25 years she had spent here. Elliot had attended the party the night before, but she didn't stay long. She just didn't fit in with the typical Vault resident. The vast majority of the people in Vault 76 were there because they had some special type of skill. The Vault was full of scientists, engineers, and many other professionals from the tops of their field. Elliot was there because her mother was an important research biologist for Westec, and at 16, Elliot didn't have a choice but to go with her. Elliot would much rather have stayed outside and taken her chances with her Aunt Beth and Uncle Caleb. The Carsons had built a bunker before the war and were prepared. Instead, she had spent the past 25 years doing odd service jobs around Vault 76. Although Elliot felt there was no reason to be in a hurry for the end of the world, they would be turning off the air handlers pretty soon, so she needed to get moving. She popped her Nuka Tapper game holotape out of her terminal and checked for new messages. Of course, there weren't any. Not even a goodbye from her mother, who was scheduled to be among the first people out of the vault. Her mother was leading a team traveling to see what was left of Washington, D.C. and West Tech Technologies. After going into the bathroom and splashing the last of the fresh cold water she would likely experience for some time on her face, Elliot approached the container that had been holding her Pip-Boy, a wrist-worn computer, since she had been in the vault. The container's clear door opened as expected, and she slapped the contraption on her wrist. She never looked back at her small domicile before heading out the door. Elliot's apartment overlooked the soccer field where they had held the Vault 76 World Cup. It was a short distance from the exit to the vault. There were signs directing people to the vault exit, but living as close as she did, Elliot knew the way. They had set up stations where meager supplies were being handed out. After collecting everything being offered, she ended up with enough rations to last about a day and a small bag of building supplies. Vault-Tec sure wasn't providing them with much to start out with. Did they want everyone to die? No, she didn't think it was that, but she was certain there was something far more nefarious going on. On her way to the vault exit, Elliot took a short detour into the overseer's office. The overseer's computer terminal was unlocked, and there was actually a message from the overseer. The overseer claimed to be breaking protocol by sharing the information contained in the message. Elliot didn't believe the Vault-Tec employees ever broke protocol, and she saw right through this attempt by the overseer to seem more trustworthy. A sheer sense of horror grew over Elliot as she listened to the message. The overseer detailed her orders to secure 3 active nuclear silos, claiming they blew up the world before. We can't let it happen again. Elliot had no doubt that Vault-Tec would love to secure active nuclear silos, but she did not believe for a second that it was for peaceful purposes. It looked like Elliot would be following the overseer as instructed after all, not to assist her, but to stop her. It was a short walk from the overseer's office to the vault exit, and Elliot stopped on the way to read 3 slides that were being projected on a screen. One was an advertisement for the Pip-Boy, and the other 2 were the only survival training the residents of Vault 76 ever received. The slides were full of sage advice such as, accept your new or harsher surroundings, and supplies may be scarce after the war. Maybe Vault-Tec actually did want all the residents to die, because that was exactly what was going to happen. They were being thrust into the unknown with no food and only enough water to last a day or so. Because of her survival skills, Elliot felt a growing responsibility to help keep the vault's residents alive. It was a couple more turns, and Elliot was soon walking out into the first sunlight she had seen in 25 years. The view from in front of the entrance to the Vault 76 did not look much different than the one she remembered glimpsing while entering the vault 25 years ago. Everything in the forested area where Vault 76 was located still seemed lush and green, and the air didn't contain any kinds of foul odors. Perhaps this was good news. Her optimism was tempered a few minutes later while exploring around the entrance to the vault. She encountered one of those small Chinese robots that she remembered spreading communist propaganda before the war. Unlike the ones before the war, this one started shooting lasers at her. Luckily, she had found a small homemade 38 caliber pistol on a corpse just moments before encountering the robot, and she was able to dispatch it with ease. The shooting skills she had learned from the Carsons were surprisingly sharp after all these years. Elliot checked the chamber of her pistol and saw that she had 2 rounds left. Elliot would head straight to the camp and put both of them into the overseer's head. As Elliot was going down the stairs heading toward the road to the south, she came across another corpse. This one had a note from someone named Maria Chavez, instructing it to scout the entrance to the vault. The commie robot must have got him. He also had a machete, which would surely come in handy. It was a short, uneventful walk to the overseer's camp. When she got there, Elliot found a holotape and another couple days' worth of rations, including 2 cans of dog food. The holotape indicated that the overseer would be in the town of Flatwoods, just a short distance to the south. Elliot was starting to understand why the residents were never given any survival training, even when Elliot had once offered to teach a class for free. Giving people just enough supplies to get to their next destination was a way to control them and to make sure that they follow the overseer. Elliot would try catching up with the overseer in Flatwoods, but she had zero expectation that she would be there. The reality was that they were probably just following a bunch of caches set up by Vault-Tec to direct people where they wanted them to go. Hell, it was like the overseer herself had never been here, and these holotapes were all recorded in Vault 76. Elliot used the supplies in the workbench in the overseer's camp to craft herself a piece of chest armor and some throwing knives. Then she headed down the road towards Flatwoods. This concludes part 2 of Elliot's story.
Great. Thank you so much, John, for your wonderful feedback about Elliot. Sarah, would you like to mention anything about the memorial that you guys over on the PC group have been constructing for our fallen soldier, Daryl?
So I actually was not a part of the memorial construction. That was Phil and a couple other guys. But I know that they did construct a little memorial for Daryl. We're all pretty sad that Leon can't play anymore. So we're just doing everything we can to try and memorialize him and remember him. And you know, be pissed at the griefers because it's not fun.
Fuck you, griefers.
Yeah. So the other day, actually, we so Sarah Saylor posted a picture of what looked like a guy. He was wanted, and he was a higher level, just chilling right outside of Vault 76, looking like he was just. I mean, who knows? But if you see somebody that's wanted outside of the vault, your first thought is that he's trying to wail on
Yeah.
newbies coming out of the vault, right? So anyway, we were talking about getting a little posse together and going to deal with them. But, at what point do you become the griefer? You know?
Yeah.
Especially somebody that's wanted as often as you are.
Hey, listen. That is accidental.
And fixed, we'll find out the next time we play together. But that's also one of the things that they're supposedly fixed in the new patch.
Yeah.
Is that you actually have to destroy something in somebody's camp before you become wanted, not just have a stray bullet hit a mute fruit plant when you're trying to kill mole rats.
Yeah, I was being so kind and clearing the mole rats out of Phil's garden. And I became wanted because I shot one of his. That's supposed to be fixed. But we did actually have somebody shooting at us while Phil was trying so kindly to welcome somebody into the ASA podcasting fold. We had a guy just standing on top of the train station shooting at us. And I didn't realize he was on top of the train station. I thought he was over in the mountains. So I just started heading towards the mountains because I was just going to take this guy out. I didn't care if he took me out. I was going to get a few punches in because at that point, I was just all teed off about the whole Daryl situation and everything. Anyway, but I think when he realized we were going to turn on him, he fast traveled away. But man, they make me mad. Stop picking on people. Don't be jerks. Be nice to each other. Treat each other kindly. Treat each other with respect. Be cool. There's no reason to be rude to anybody, really. Just don't do it.
Yeah, and that goes double for the people that are in our group too.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of new people.
Yeah.
And this is a kind, peaceful community. We don't we don't really have any place for people that want to put other people down.
Yeah, that's not what we're about. We're about working together. This is a community project. It's been built out of love for these games, for Bethesda's games. I mean, Michael and Andrew have really put something together amazing. And I think that this is one of the best communities on the internet. And let's just keep it that way. Everyone's welcome. Everybody can come play. Just be cool.
Yep. We're all just here to have fun.
Totally. And we have a lot of it.
Yes, we do. So, and then one of the other big things from the latest patch is that they increased the stash weight to 800 pounds.
Yes. 800
Yes.
pounds. Yes, that is a big addition. Everyone's been clamoring for that one for a long while now.
And I already know. Oh, sorry.
I think the extra 200 was gone in 15 minutes.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I already know a few people that have already maxed it.
Just because I can, I will. You know what I mean? Now it's useless stuff that I'll end up scrapping, but
Always.
that's just I don't want to go through my inventory right now. I'll just dump the stuff here in the bolt.
Yeah. Well, and you have to scrap so much to be able to keep up on things that it's just a constant need.
Yeah. And I'm assuming crafting ammunition, the ammo weighs less than the components used to make the ammo. Stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because it takes quite a bit to make ammo.
And it doesn't weigh a ton itself, so that's another. I mean, every little bit helps when you're trying to make.
Which reminds me, I need to head back to Flatwoods and go pick up the weights from the hotel or the motel just outside of town.
Yeah, get those the weight benches.
Yeah, 42 pounds of lead.
Wow, it's a lot.
Dang.
Out of about 300 pounds of weights.
Where are the other gyms in the game? Is there like at the high schools? Is there one at Watoga and one at what's that other town?
I can't remember coming across any other weight rooms.
The fire station has to have a,
and it must be pretty popular because 9 times out of 10 when I go there, somebody's already cleaned it out.
It's already all cleared out usually when I hit it. I remember the first time I found it, I was so excited, picking up all these weights, feeling like a badass, and then slowly walking down the street.
Yeah. Well, at least there's the stash box close by. So
yeah.
So
Freighter said, oh yeah, go ahead.
No, you go for it.
Freighter says Charleston Fire Department.
There you go. Where'd you say, Ray? In Flatwoods? Is that where you were going for the gym?
Yeah, the little motel just outside of town. Get a little mole rat meat and some weights.
Oh, mole rat meat. That's another one that gives you a special bonus. I think that's the one that gives you strength, which is really good for my melee character. So I'm trying to eat lots of mole rat chunks, I believe. Give you a +1 of strength. Good stuff. Hey, we have a Fallout Terminal Velocity to check in with real quick here before we sign off for the evening. And then we'll check in with see how Ray is doing with his retirement here in just a few seconds. And so it turns out the same people who did the mining company up there in the forest area also have opened up a military complex, I believe, called Camp McClintock. I'm not even sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, but we'll take a look inside. I see that they have also refurbished one of their old terminals and got it back up and running again. So let's take a look in there and see what that says. There's the administrative facility terminal. The monthly training reports. Training report of May 2077. Training report, May 27-7, Sergeant O'Malley. The illustrious asshats that we call leadership and our fine organization have proclaimed from on high that my role as senior drill instructor is no longer necessary. I've been informed that these worthless maggots will instead be molded into productive members of society by those tin can shit boxes they're calling Mr. Gutsy. Unbelievable. I assumed, as any sane man would, that these things were here to clean my shoes and kill vermin inside the campgrounds. Instead, My orders are to train these worthless fucking glorified vacuum cleaners how to do my job. As instructed, I will provide a monthly report of these futile efforts to my supervisors. They will be short with the minimum amount of detail to secure my goddamn pension. Entry 2, Training Report, June 2077. Training Report, June 2077, Sergeant O'Malley. I have to admit, I didn't think I was going to be surprised by the results of the first training session with this robot they have the balls to call a drill sergeant. But I was. I was absolutely fucking shocked at how much more completely fucking incompetent these toasters were than was imagined in my wildest fucking dreams. A brief executive summary of this month's events. First off, I'm pretty sure they cannot traverse upstairs or any kind of steep incline. One of them reverted to some old code and started landscaping the grounds. What's worse is they were fucking terrible at it. These things refuse to ever shut the hell up. If one of them calls me commie-loving bastard one more time, I will forcibly disassemble it with my service rifle. During a basic live fire exercise, one of them accidentally killed Private Adams with about 17 stray rounds. So I guess you'd better train these shit heaps to fill out paperwork too. Is that enough? Certainly is for me. Next entry, Training Report, July 2077. Training Report, July 2077. Sergeant O'Malley. Training a piece of shit machine to effectively communicate with the worthless group of scumbags we're calling recruits is a royal waste of time. Whoever thought they could ever match the eloquence and efficiency of a trained USAF officer was sorely mistaken. All they're capable of is shouting canned phrases in a ridiculous voice and threatening recruits if they fail to comply. Private Taylor neglected to make his rack yesterday, and one of those damn things nearly burned the barracks down. Is it truly necessary for them to be equipped with goddamned flamethrowers? Next entry, August 2077. Training Report, August 2077, Sergeant O'Malley. Against my strongest recommendation, I've been informed that the transition to a fully automated Camp McClintock is now complete after only 4 months of training. In layman's terms, this means that we're all fucked. Our best and brightest will be led into hell's fiery asshole by these metal death balls. The only saving grace in this colossal fuck up is I won't be here when the shit hits the fan. I'm getting my wife and kid the hell out of here. Maybe apply for one of those vaults I've heard about. Something tells me we'll be needing them. All right, Ray, has your wife forced you to go get another part-time job yet or anything?
Not yet. I've been on my best behavior. Now, it's more just like being on vacation.
I was going to say, can you tell a difference between this and vacation yet?
No, not yet.
Yeah. What do you do on your first week of retirement? Did you have like a plan, or did you just sort of like laze around, you know? Did you sleep in? Are you one of those guys who likes to sleep in and stuff? Or are you up at 5 every morning anyway?
I did sleep in until 7 the other day, which was a huge accomplishment.
Huge. Well, the dogs let you sleep that late is first and foremost an impressive feat, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're hard and fast. You will not sleep past 8:30 because that's when they eat their breakfast. So
There you go.
they're not putting up with that crap. But yeah, no, had plenty of stuff already kind of in the pipeline. Things planned. The weather's been absolute crap here. We've been on the tail end of the weather that Sarah Saylor's been having, where we're just getting absolutely pummeled with rain. My backyard, I get a stream that forms, coming off the hillside behind me. So
Wow.
it's been a lot of rain.
Yeah, we had snow and ice instead of all that rain. You guys had. But I took a snow day yesterday.
I'll take the rain,
which is fine. You don't get to take a rain day and call in.
No, you don't.
Yeah, so I stayed home and worked on the RPM challenge. I forced my wife to record some vocals, so that's really exciting. Everybody look forward to that.
Nice.
Forced participation. She loves it.
Yeah.
I swear, she's not hostage. I promise.
You're coming down to the wire on that now.
Must be turned in like a week from today.
Yeah.
So need to start lighting matches under people's butts over there. Hurry up, guys!
Get with it, guys.
Yeah. Hey, you guys! Thanks for listening to the show tonight. Sarah, thanks for hopping on and joining us. Been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Ray, so much congratulations on the retirement and everything. It's been a wonderful adventure through all of these years of toil and well-deserved break for you, sir.
Thanks. Good times.
Glad you get to enjoy it now. I'd like to thank everyone for listening to this edition of the Fallout Feed Roundtable, and we will see you in the wasteland.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the Roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout Feed, the Skyrimatic podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the wasteland.